None of the bull. Bruce Feldman's going to join us next hour. That stuff is spicy, as Joy says. So here's a story. Baker Mayfield's still on the Cleveland roster. Baker Mayfield doesn't want to be in the Cleveland roster. The Cleveland roster now includes Deshaun Watson. And the NFL is down in Texas right now figuring out what to do with Deshaun Watson. A lot of variables. A lot of moving parts. Ian Rappaport suggested yesterday they need to make amends, and Baker Mayfield knows Cleveland is a place he should probably play. Now, Baker doesn't want to. Ego's hurt, and those Oklahoma egos are sizable. They come with a big chip on both shoulders. Baker, lose the Oklahoma ego. Go to Cleveland, play, and get a second chance. Because nobody wanted you. Seattle thought about it. Carolina thought about it, and they're both rebuilding. No good team is interested at all in Baker Mayfield. So your career is essentially in the toilet. You got some money, so do a lot of people. What do you want your legacy to be? Number one bust? Cleveland's roster is still good. Deshaun Watson's going to get spended maybe 7 to 8 games. I looked at your schedule this morning. You can go 5-2, 6-2 in that schedule, and guess what? You'll get a second shot. But more importantly, it will flip the narrative from cocky, ego-infused Baker to, that took a lot of guts by Baker Mayfield. I'll tell you, that kid put his ego aside. That's a team player. That guy is somebody I could build around. Because right now, all the narratives on Baker, he's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the world. I think he's probably one of the top 25 quarterbacks in the world. But the narrative stinks. The talent doesn't. We know he's talented. The narrative in this league, I talked to a Jim about this. He's toxic. He's totally toxic. People don't even want him in the building as a backup. Too much snark, too much ego. How do you change that? Because your talent is what it is. At this point, you're not going to change your talent. And the good teams aren't interested. But you can change the narrative. So in life, change the stuff you can change. Go to Cleveland, ego aside, go perform, head down, and people will say, I always liked that guy. He can be a little much, but I think he learned his lesson. I could sign Baker to it. We could build around Baker. We give him a little bit of protection. Most of the stuff in Baker's life, he can't change. He can change the narratives. Sometimes in life, you got to eat a dirt sandwich before you get the Philly cheesesteak. Remember when Shaq and Kobe split up? Shaq went right to Miami and won titles. Kobe didn't have a number 2 until Pau Gasol. And so for like a year or two, Kobe sort of had to eat that. Shaq won the divorce. Just like Brady has won it. Maybe Mac Jones becomes great and then Belichick gets his turn. But the trading deadline is week what? 7, 8, 5-2. Suck it up, head down, be appreciative, perform, good team, good O-line, excellent weapons, great running game, nice coach. Joy with the news. No. Dallas had 25 uncontested three-point shots. They made 8. It was brutal. I've never seen a good team miss more open threes. But I said after game 1, Celtics Heat, I couldn't take a lot from Miami's win. They had 3 more days rest. They were at home. The Celtics lost Marcus Smart right before tip-off, their best defender. They came out of a grueling series. I can't take much from that series. I still like Boston in 6. But I watched last night, and I picked the Warriors to win in 6, and there's some things that Golden State does that could give Dallas trouble, and it may not change. Now, Dallas will shoot better, and Luka will bounce back. He's had some atrocious playoff games, 1 or 2, always bounces back. But here's the issue. Dallas was rested. Dallas was healthy. And Dallas got worked by Golden State's defense. And I said this, my prediction was before the series, Phoenix did not match up with Luka. Outside of Mikal Bridges, and he's not a great matchup, they don't really have enough bodies to throw at him. Booker can't guard him. Chris Paul can't guard him. Jay Crowder's too slow. Ayton's not quick enough. But Golden State's got 3 guys they can put on him, and they can take turns. Draymond Green, elite defender. Andrew Wiggins, high-end defender. Jonathan Kuminga, wildly twitchy, athletic kid you can put on 4 or 5 minutes a half. Body after body after body after body, and they're going to make there'll be obstacles for Luka. Now, he'll bounce back, but this is going to be a tougher series for Luka, and he single-handedly carved up in Game 7 Phoenix. He's not going to do that here in repeated games. Also, things that work in Golden State's favor. Dallas looked tight. Well, they should. They haven't been here before. Golden State looked relaxed. Well, they should. They've been here a lot before. Also, very rarely does the favorite play with more urgency. But those Golden State guys, Clay, Steph, and Draymond, they know this could be it. They're getting older. They're getting injured more. The favorite here is playing with more urgency. I mean, Dallas knows there's a long runway for Luka and championships. They got 10 more years of this stuff. And so the only concern I had about Golden State, offense is about talent, defense is about motivation. It's hard to play defense. You have to motivate guys to play defense. Did Golden State so trouble Dallas? Did Golden State so discombobulate Dallas so easily that on the defensive end, are they going to get that effort in their next home game? That's the thing I worry about, because we know Golden State, even with KD, has a history. Teams that are brilliant offensively, Clay and Steph and Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, teams that score quickly can take their foot off the gas. Now, we've talked about this. If you play great defense like the Celtics, they have bad games, but they bring that defense. Like, that's pretty consistent. Golden State didn't even show up against Memphis. They barely got off the bus. They lost by they were down by 50. That happened when Kevin Durant was there. When buckets come easy, and for Golden State, they come fast, they come in threes, they come in bunches. Sometimes they have a history in the last 6-7 years. They take their foot off the gas. Now, they're favored by over 6 points in Game 2. That seems like a lot because Dallas is they're going to hit some of these shots. They had 25 open threes. They got great looks. And if you play Luka the way they played Luka, you're going to get other guys open. And they're going to hit more than 8. If they hit 13, 14, if they'd have hit 3 in the first half, we'd had a real game at half. But Steve Kerr talked about it. They threw a lot of looks at Luka, and it was effective.
I thought Wiggs was fantastic. Doncic is as difficult a cover as there is in this league. I think it's important to try to make him work. He's so good. Any great player in the league, you're just trying to limit the damage that they do.
There are real matchup advantages for the Warriors over the Mavericks, and you could see it last night. Dallas will shoot better, and they'll win a game or two. But in Boston-Miami's case, I didn't feel like Game 1 was a tell. I kind of did last night in Game 1 of this series. Okay, we got a little fight going on. So Nick Saban has dominated college football. And Nick, I like Nick. I know Nick. Spent a little time with Nick. I like Nick. But Nick is very manipulative. When he's got something to say, a message, Joy and I have joked about this, he goes to the podium and you can just throw him a question and he'll go in another direction because he's got a message he wants to send to college football. So Alabama this year, Texas A&M out-recruited him and beat him on 4 or 5 five-star kids. And so Nick, in front of some of his boosters, the big money guys, as the NIL now, you can buy that high school player occasionally, right? So Nick last night said this, taking shots at Jimbo Fisher and A&M, and it was in front of some of his well-heeled donors.
We were second in recruiting last year. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness. All right, we didn't buy one player. All right, but I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it.
That's sending a message. I need more money from the donors. Texas has oil money, energy money. Texas is a much richer state than Alabama. Sark can recruit, Jimbo can recruit, and they have richer donors. They got more money. And so he's sending that message. Those guys buy all their players. First of all, Nick's being a hypocrite, and I love him. But when Nick Saban got to Alabama, he gray-shirted players for 2 or 3 years. It's considered sleazy. It was considered sleazy. Big Ten coaches see it as treasonous. It's a bad deal. It's too complicated for people that don't like recruiting like me, but a lot of coaches see it as sleazy. It's over-recruiting a year before, and Nick did it because he wanted to get good fast, and he over-recruit guys and then pair them off and send guys that couldn't play to, Troy and the schools around there. And it was a way to have fewer whiffs in recruiting, and a lot of coaches I heard from coaches. A lot of coaches are like, what Saban's doing sleazy. Nick did whatever it took. That was the transfer portal before the transfer portal. Okay, Nick, I'm right on this, and that's true. It was legal, but it's kind of sleazy. Well, you can buy high school players now. It's a little sleazy, but it's legal. You can. I don't like it. I've said before, I think NIL, you should have to be in a college campus for say a year, and then you can be paid as a sophomore, a junior, or a senior. I don't like the idea that Nick Saban or anybody goes into a high school, a 16-year-old's house and buys him. That feels like that's not the intent of NIL is to reward college kids, not to buy high school kids, right? So I think there needs to be some guardrails on this. It's like the NBA has a one and done. You know why they do that? Because the NBA doesn't want their general managers at high school games. They want them at Duke or Carolina. They don't